My name is Lotus Saloba, and you are watching LOTUSLIKE. This podcast is here to help you transform. In my 10 years of being a wellness practitioner and 30 plus years of just being alive and living life, there's one thing that I've come to realize, and it's that change is inevitable. Shit is always changing, all the time. We are in a constant state of transformation. There's always a grieving happening, and there's always a new beginning happening. So the intention of the space is to provide you with real conversation and hopefully some resources that help you navigate this new beginning that you're experiencing. For my tried and true listeners, you've probably noticed that the name has changed. Please check out the trailer because I explain more there. But LOTUSLIKE is where we're at. It's where we're heading. And there's Loboland Studios now that will be producing the podcast, which I'm very excited about. It's all about starting over. So I hope you enjoy this new journey with me and you share it with your loved ones and friends so that we can be in this together, like we've always said. So the theme of this season is starting over. Not only have I seen the influx of this topic in social media, but I've also just seen it in life for myself, choosing to start again. It's a conversation that I'm having almost daily with my loved ones, from my 7-year-old niece realizing that she's leaving first grade and going into second grade, to the elders in my life that are in a new phase of their experience here on earth. We are constantly starting over. It's even woven into the cosmic system. There's so many opportunities for us to start again. And I really wanted to explore what that looks and feels like in the body for us on our spiritual, creative, and wellness journey. And also what's happening in the brain as we're doing that. Because it's some fascinating stuff when you see how starting over can influence and affect your brain and how you're perceiving life. I feel like you're going to really have more fun with the journey. You'll feel better prepared. And I'm looking forward to that because the things that I learned researching for this season have altered my own brain chemistry in the best way possible. We're all starting over in ways that we couldn't even possibly begin to imagine. And that's okay because we're not in this alone. And hopefully this season and each episode will provide you with a safe space for you to really embody that truth and enjoy your journey a bit more. Why I'm going back to the basics, I want to share a little bit of my personal journey with y'all because I'm on the other side now and it's not as intense as it was. But the first 5 months of 2024, baby, it was a dark night of the soul that I guess I wasn't expecting. But then I'm thinking, like, do you ever really expect a dark night of the soul? Like, is that a thing that we're like looking forward to having? Because I know for me, it's not. But in hindsight, I always appreciate my dark night of the souls. And this one has really been probably the most intense one that I've had in a while. So it's a little jarring at first when I was going through it because I was like, what the hell is going on? Once I realized it was a dark night of the soul, I was like, oh, okay, now we can keep going. I understand the flow of things. When in the beginning, I was like, what? What's happening? What's going on? I experienced 2 profound losses in my life this year. And I'm going to share more of that in the upcoming grief episode because I wanted that to have its own home. And you'll notice that even though the overarching theme for this season is starting over, an episode is dedicated to each aspect of starting over in your life because my goal is not to overwhelm you. I really want you to have time to digest the information and to feel all the feels as we go through them together. But those 2 losses really impacted everything in my life and how I was going to choose to show up and move forward. If you want to learn more about what happened, I have an entire series. It's a 4-part series called Grief Diaries on my YouTube channel where I talk about the insights that I gained from grief in this season of my life. And I'm really proud of the work. It feels like a body of art for me. And it was a great way for me to make peace and to honor the losses that I experienced. Those losses were definitely a catalyst for me in starting over and realizing I'm in a new chapter, maybe even a new book in my life. So again, there's nothing but deep appreciation there. But in the beginning, baby, I was not here for it at all. Another thing is I don't think we take into account how often we start over and that we can start over because you guys see the influx of starting over in my 30s, starting over in my 40s, starting over in my 50s, right? I'm thinking about that every single day, every breath that we take is an opportunity for us to start over again, that we don't have to invite the past into our future if we choose not to. And I already feel like I've lived so many lives And I know I'm not the only one, especially as a Scorpio stellium. Like, baby, I've lived so many lives. I've seen so many things. So I know that anybody with Scorpio placements, I know y'all know. I know y'all know what it feels like. The constant death and rebirth of it all. The constant transformation. And then I also thought, who better to talk about transformation than like a Scorpio? We are constantly transforming, like all the time. I am so different than who I was, and yet there's something about me that remains the same. That core energy is just always going to be there. So if you are someone that is a Scorpio placement, trust me, I'm here with you. We're going to make it through. Okay? We're going to make it through. Let's discuss the importance of recognizing when it's time to reset for your personal growth. Let me be very clear. It can be really hard to know when it's time to reset. And here's my theory about it. For some of us, it's like burnout, right? You burn yourself out and you really have no choice but to start over. It's like you've given yourself no other option. You get to that space, you're exhausted, and you're just like, I cannot do what I've been doing. It's just not working for me at all. But for others, we get so caught up in forecasting our future that we forget to live in the present moment and see what the present moment needs from us so that we can build a better tomorrow. It's such an intriguing conundrum to be in. You're projecting all these past beliefs and fears and behaviors into the future and completely disregarding what's happening in the present moment, listening to what your body needs, listening to what your mind is asking for. And we don't give ourselves any time to pause and to pivot. Even as a practitioner, it was hard for me to know when to start over again. And I literally live and breathe these techniques and skill sets, right? This is part of my livelihood. So I want to share that and be transparent in that truth because though this is my profession, I am still a human being. And the goal for me and the work that I'm putting out, the art that I'm creating, is to be personal first and then professional. And I feel like that's the season that I'm in right now. And having that perspective really provides me with a sense of nourishment. It allows me space to release that perfectionism that comes with wanting to always be on cue or being in teacher mode 24/7. Like, I am a girl. I'm a girl in this crazy world. And I want that experience to shine through as well. And hopefully it inspires you to do the same. So for me, I had a crazy last summer. I was invited out to do a residency in the Hamptons, teach wellness and arts to kids. And it was cute in theory, but there was a lot of microaggressions, a lot of macroaggressions. Being the only Black woman in a space is very exhausting, and had been a minute since I've been the only Black woman. I didn't realize how I have really cultivated my life to support the things that I need for me to feel safe until being plucked out from my safety net and placed into a space where there was no real regard for my Blackness or my womanhood. It was a very interesting experience. So when I came back home, I was just like, yeah, I'm taking sabbatical. I stacked up some coins over the summer. It should last me for a while. And the goal was only for 2 months. The goal was to be on sabbatical for 2 months. I was going to enjoy my September, my birthday month, go to Curacao, kiki with the family, and then come back swinging in November to, provide more meditations and classes and things like that, work with my clients. And life. And that sabbatical turned into September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 9 months. It was a 9-month birthing process for me to get to where I am now. And it was just, I knew I needed time for myself. And I feel like I wanted that sabbatical because I knew I needed time to reflect, to make sure that I was on the path that I wanted to be on. That was the initial intention. However, I think along the way, maybe I didn't have as much awareness as I needed, or whatever the case is, or where I was placing my attention and energy was not where I needed it to be. And life, of course, corrected me to focus in on a different area of life to make sure that this is what it is that I want to experience in this upcoming season that I'm in. So I want to give you some signs to know that it's time to start over. So it's not just hitting you in the head randomly one day. Okay. First and foremost, frustration. If you are frustrated with yourself, with other people, you probably need to start over again. It's an invitation to pause and to see where it is you need to pivot in your life, because what you're doing no longer works, babes. If it was working, you wouldn't be frustrated. I know. It's like, if I just get this one thing together, if they just did this one thing. Humanity is messy. Living life makes no sense half the time. We need to let go of that false sense of control, right? I want to touch your hand as I say this. Put the control down. And then what you can hold is your heart. And see how you're feeling. Because if you're frustrated, you're not in alignment. Something in your environment or in your perspective or belief system is no longer serving you and it wants out. Your body wants to get rid of it. And you are not giving it the time or energy it needs to let go of it. And you need to. Okay? So that's number one, frustration. The second thing is a notice of your self-care declining. When I am not in my morning routine anymore, or my night routine, or I'm not working out the way that I need to, I'm not eating right, there's just a lack of care for myself, I take that as a sign that it's time for me to start over with intention. There's, again, something in my life or some things in my life that I need to pause and reevaluate before I move forward. Because taking care of yourself is a natural act, right? No matter how conditioned or traumatized you may be, you have a natural instinct for self-preservation, to take care of yourself. So when that natural instinct starts to be quelled, right? You start to put that on the back burner. Take that as an invitation to pause and to realize it's time to slow down before, again, it hits you over the head. Something that I want to mention is losing a passion for art or for living life. That's a huge sign that it's time to start over. You are meant to be here. You were designed to create, to call things into existence, to see what you are capable of bringing to life. When you no longer have a desire to bring things to life, it means that life that you're living is dying, and that's okay. Again, there's so many lifetimes you're going to live in this one lifetime here on earth. Go ahead, have your grieving process, and then move forward. Living with that feeling of wanting to create, wanting to experience art, wanting to experience beauty, wanting to experience life. That is what keeps us going. That is what's going to help us get through those hard times, those moments where we're going to ebb, is honoring and savoring the moments when we're in flow. So if you find that you haven't been in flow in a minute, baby, it's time to start over. So these are the most common and prevalent signs that you need to start over that I realized in my own life, in my professional life, with my clients, my students, my community. I can pretty much pinpoint one of those three things and know that they're in a season of transformation. And I'm sure there's hundreds of different ways to know that you are the stages of starting over again in your life. So I want you to let me know in the comments, what is your sign? What happens in your life where you're like, oh, it's time for me to start over? I want to know. And please remember to share in the comments, like and review the podcast. It helps us to have a community. Like, I am a person pouring my heart out to you in these episodes, sharing my art, sharing my passions. And I'm doing it because I want to be in conversation with you. That is one of the main purposes of this podcast, outside of documenting my life for, my nieces when they get older. But I want you to share your insights and your wisdoms too, because we get to grow and learn together. It's nice. So let me know in the comments, what sign do you see and know it's time to start over? I want to know what starting over looks like. I want to describe the process of preparing for a new beginning in your life. So the first step is just having the awareness that it's time for you to start over. If you don't have the awareness that you need to start over, I feel like one or two things happens, right? It's either you don't start over because you're not aware that it's time to, or you have some type of traumatic experience that forces you to start over. It's kind of like my saying of either the universe will hold you by the hand or drag you. It's really up to you. That up to you part is the level of awareness and focus you have to realize when it's an invitation that you need to accept, that you are unable to decline, And it takes a level of courage to accept an invitation and change. It can be really terrifying starting over again, feeling like I have to build up from scratch. And sometimes, honestly, for us, it's a feeling of desperation of like, I can no longer be here. This is going to drive me crazy. And that inspires you to go ahead and let go of whatever it is that you were holding on to, that old life, and to move forward. But ultimately, that awareness needs to happen before anything else can be put into place. And once you have that awareness, it's time to reflect and to evaluate. Begin asking yourself questions that are going to allow you to begin witnessing what's going on and hopefully accepting that it's time to shake shit up. What are you not enjoying in your life anymore? What is causing you to feel out of alignment? These questions can help jumpstart that reflective period for you so you can begin weeding out, fine-tuning the desires and beliefs and perspectives that you're going to need in this new chapter of life. And here's the thing, I need you to answer these truthfully. This is why I love journaling. And this is why I'm like a big advocate for journaling, because that's where you can put pen to paper or do your audio, your visual diary, and speak your truth. It is for you. And let me tell you something. This is my little Scorpio side popping out real quick. If someone reads your diary or watches your audio, listens to your audio diary or watches your video diary, that whatever they get from that, that's on them. If their feelings get hurt, their feelings get hurt, because why are you in my business? If I wanted you to know, babes, I tell you, right? So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. Because a lot of people are like, I don't really want to write down or say how I really feel, because what if somebody finds it? Then they find it. That's for them and their journey. That's for them and their God. But you need to have a safe space for you to be honest about what you're feeling. So often we pretend that we are okay when we are falling to pieces inside. And this is an invitation for you to stop suffering in silence. Start living your life out loud. And that begins by writing out how you really feel about your life. You need to know what's working for you and what's not working for you in order to move forward and not have to repeat this lesson, repeat this unnecessary cycle. Otherwise, you'll never be able to self-actualize. And then what are we doing here, right? Remember that the gifts and talents that are within you are meant to be shared with others. They're meant to be experienced by you and your community. You can't get to that place in time if you do not know where you are in this moment. With that being said, next thing I would suggest is exploring what it would look like to start over and how it would feel for you. Now, there are a few different ways that you can do this, and it's going to be unique to each person. For me, I instantly go to my LOTUSLIKE deck and to the new guided meditation I just dropped called Live Your Dream Life Now, which is a wonderful manifestation meditation that really covers all aspects of your life. And by the time you're done in those 20 minutes, you are going to have more clarity, more confidence, and more courage to live your dreams and your desires right here, right now. You're going to realize how close you are to them, because sometimes we can feel so far away from our dreams and our desires when in fact, they live within us all along. They're right here for you to experience. So I'll go to my meditation, tap and tune in there, and then I go to my LOTUSLIKE deck and I'm reviewing the things that I have in there. Is this how I want my body to look? Is this how I want my style to be? Is this where I'm going? Where do I want to travel? Who do I want to converse with? Who do I want to be in family with? Who do I want romance with? I really sit and look at every aspect of my life on a daily basis, because you need them daily reminders. Okay, when it's time to go explore for good and not for evil, right? And when I say that, I'm talking about when we start thinking of and dreaming of the worst case scenarios for ourselves, or telling ourselves why we can't live our dream lives because of our gender, because of our race, because of where we live, because of the trauma we had in our childhood. These are all things that are limiting beliefs that are going to keep you away from your dream life. This is why you need a period of exploration, a period to tap into your imagination, to fine tune it, and make sure that it's working to call in the good things in life. That's what I personally do. And then another thing that I love to do is reach out to my community, to my loved ones, people that I really respect and honor, and just be in communion with them. Talking to a trusted community, right? This means that this is somebody that has what you want, right? Or is where you want to be, only looks out for you in your greatness, and in a way that uplifts and expands you, not in one that has you terrified about what it is that you're capable of doing, right? I'm talking about trusted people, not people who have been in your life for a long time and that makes you think that you can trust them. I'm talking about people that when you're with them and you leave their energy, you feel better. You think of them and you smile and it brings so much love to your heart. You immediately think of them, you're just like, oh, I miss them already. Those are the people I'm talking about, not the other people. I don't care about those other people. That's not my business. That's not my ministry. I'm not talking about them. Okay. You want to go to the people that inspire you, that open your heart, that help you to feel safe, and see if they've noticed anything in observing you living your life, because they're on the outside looking in. There are so many insights that I get from my close girlfriends that are like, babe, I noticed this about you. And I'm just like, damn, I totally forgot that. Or I didn't look at that in the way that you're looking at it. And now I get to reevaluate that and see, like, is that as big of a deal as they're saying it is? Because maybe it just wasn't for me. And it might be that blind spot that I'm not able to see. That's why you go to your trusted community, right? That's another thing that I love to do in helping me to explore what it's going to look like to start over, especially talking to somebody that's kind of been where I'm at, and is where I want to be. Hearing their journey and their insights always inspires me and keeps me focused on the journey itself, as opposed to getting wrapped up in that, will I ever get their destination? And then the final thing that I want to add is solitude and rest. You need time by yourself, because as beautiful as it is to have that counsel from community, from loved ones, for people who are where you want to be, you also have an eternal system that knows what you need as well. So I spend a lot of time in solitude and in rest with my divine source, with my ancestors, my angels. Seeing what wisdom and insights they have for me as well is deeply important, and is going to help you get through those ebbing moments of starting over, because it's not always going to be smooth sailing in the beginning of starting a new life. You have to think about all of the old beliefs and habits that kept you where you were currently at. You have to reevaluate friendships and relationships and see which ones are going to stay and which ones have run their course. That takes a lot of courage and bravery. And I find that the only way that I can sustain those types of changes is by having a deep and personal and intimate relationship with God, with my divine source. And whoever that is that you call on to, however you call on to them, that is who you need to be spending a lot of time with. And I would suggest doing that first and foremost, and then seeing where that leads you. Let's explore the emotions that come up with starting over and making a decision to begin again. So I'm not sure if it's the level of self-awareness I've cultivated over my lifetime, or if this was just a very intense transformation for me, but I felt so many emotions. I was frustrated. I was annoyed. I was exhausted, depleted, uncertain. I was longing for relief. It just felt like it was never going to end. It was like waking up every single day in a space of, how am I going to get through not even the next 24 hours, just the next 12 hours until I can go to sleep again, until I can be back in the dreamscape. How am I going to get through these next 12 hours? I don't think I can make it. I don't think I can do this. It was a lot to feel through those feelings. And I can see why so many people go that logical route of just being like, I'm just going to think my way through this, But I really honor the fact that I'm a feeling body who thinks, not a thinking body who feels. I honor the fact that emotions have information and wisdom for me to receive, so that I know what next steps I need to take. And that means I'm going to have to feel them. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and the beautiful. That means it could also be exhausting to do, to get an influx of energy, to have to digest that information, and hopefully digest it in a way that is not through the lens and filter of some type of subconscious trauma you're unaware of, because there's a whole other level to that. There's a lot of work that's happening internally when you're feeling. So I understand why people want to opt out and just think it through, because it feels like it makes more sense, but it only makes more sense up here. It doesn't make more sense in the body. And you want it to make more sense in the body. The body is a subconscious mind. And when you can resonate and feel through the subconscious mind, it's a lot easier for you to then use the conscious mind to bring that inner world to life. Another challenge for me was remaining active in my faithfulness. I've expressed this so many times in my personal journey at how I have struggled with the concept of faith. It's been a very, very, very interesting journey for me. It wasn't until most recently that I got a new insight that faith is just having confidence And I was just like, oh my God, I have confidence. Like that I can do. Sometimes you need to hear another word and it clicks together. And I'm like, oh, if that's the case, we're Gucci. I have confidence. I have a good sense of belief in myself and in my God, right? And in my source. Once I heard that, it definitely helped me. But prior to hearing that, I was just like, oh, it's me and Faith again. What's up, girl? How you been? What you need me to do? Like, there was so much resentment there. So much disharmony. But I really did do my best to continue the things that help me to remain active in my faithfulness. Praying every day, being in my prayer circles, reading my devotionals, taking care of myself to the best of my ability. And I want to be very clear, I wasn't doing these things every single day, but I was definitely doing them weekly because I understood that you slip, you slide, right? Like if I take too much time off from being active in my faith, it's going to deplete itself. Like it's a habit that I'm still building. I need to have more practice with it. So even if you cannot do it on a daily basis, I would deeply encourage you to do it on a weekly basis, a weekly check-in. Because when you're starting over, you're going to need those check-ins to make sure that there is some type of progress happening. Otherwise, you'll revert back to your old life. And that's not what we want to do. Another big challenge for me was the desire to want to continue the journey of starting over. And I don't know if people talk about this or not, but I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this. I was just like, do I even need this rebirth? Like, is this necessary for me to go through? Because it can feel so dark and it can feel so cold at times. It can feel so exhausting. And you're just like, where am I pulling the strength to continue moving forward? You begin wondering what's next, if it's going to be worth it. Are you going to end up in the same place that you're at currently? All these thoughts come into your mind and into your experience, and it can just make you feel like, I do not care enough to continue moving forward. I don't think I have the energy or the stamina or the endurance to continue moving forward. And that's just real talk. I had to get to a space where I was just like, I'm going to honor the fact that I don't want to continue. I'm going to honor the fact that I want to give up. I don't want to do this no more. I'm tired. I don't care that what's on the other side is going to be better. I don't want this experience. I just want to stop. And honoring that truth, allowing myself to acknowledge such a vulnerable point of view was a turning point for me, because then I remember that I could just give it up. I can just surrender to source. That feeling of me not wanting to continue on was, I did not want to continue on without God. I did not want to continue on without my angels, without my ancestors, without my divine feminine energy, without my divine masculine energy. It was a call, an invitation from the inner world saying, hey, we don't want to start over without them. And that could be because we started the first time or the previous time without source at the forefront. For me and the season that I'm in, God got to be woven into everything that I do consciously, because I know God is in everything. God is in everyone. I understand that. But I need it to be a focal point for me, for it to make sense for me to continue. If I'm on a journey with God, if I'm on a journey with my ancestors, if I'm on a journey with my angels, then okay, fine. I'll continue moving forward. But if it's just me alone by myself, I'm good. I'm going to stick to what I know, And I feel like having that honesty is so important. It's something that we really just do not bring enough attention to. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about how starting over affects the brain. And I am thoroughly so excited to share everything that I found with you, because learning these things, I was just like, this makes so much sense. This is exactly what I needed to know so that I can move forward in life. But before we get there, we're having a cute little tea break. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to do 3 deep inhale, exhales together. Let's do it. Ready? Deep breath in, breathing in, expanding the lower belly, filling up the heart space, open mouth, exhale, release, soften the shoulders. Come back home to this moment. Release any tension in the body. Deep inhale, breathing in, expand the lower belly, sending that breath to the lower back, letting it rise up into the heart space. Open mouth, exhale, slow and deliberate release, letting go, sinking into this moment. Another deep inhale, breathing in, really activating that parasympathetic system that lets us know that we're safe. And exhale, release, let go. Beautiful. Hopefully you're feeling centered again. If you need to like wiggle, shake it all out, get any energy out that you need to get out, do that, grab your tea, and then come back. Because when we come back, we're getting into the brain. And I'm very excited for this. And I need you to be ready and prepared. All right? Go ahead. Ready to begin? Let's talk about the brain. What happens in the brain when we start over? That is the main question I asked myself when I was researching for the theme for this season. Was what the hell goes on in your brain when you choose to start over? Like, how does it get on board? Does it get on board? Like, what goes on? And y'all, we have some things to learn today. I'm so excited. When we start over, our brain begins to reorganize to support the new perspectives and beliefs and habits that we're ushering in. This is known as neuroplasticity. I'm going to share some insights on what's happening in the brain when we start over and 3 ways to support your brain during that time. First off, let's understand neuroplasticity because that's super important. I like to think of it as the brain being flexible. Just like our energy field, the brain has the ability to adapt and to change throughout the course of our lives. This is how we're able to learn new skills, like a new language or a new sport, how we're able to recover from injuries, and how we're able to adapt to new situations. As we learn new routines and habits, our brain creates new neural pathways. So the more we solidify those new routines and habits, the stronger that neural pathway becomes. The brain also prunes old connections, right? So we are making new ones, but we need space for those new ones to live and thrive and to make sure that we don't go back to the old one. It really reminds me of that saying, use it or lose it. It really happens in the brain. Like if you are not using this habit, using this skill set, using this information, the brain will throw it in the trash. It will let it go and bring it to the subconscious part of your mind because it's like, we only need the things here that are going to be used, babes. Right? I love that. And I want to highlight that it doesn't matter if that neural connection is considered good or bad because in the brain, there is no good or bad. It's just information it's receiving and it's organizing that information. All that matters is if you use it or not. So if you build up the habit of meditating and you're doing that every single day and you're remembering the benefits of meditation, or you're tapping every day and you're clearing out your energy field and rewiring the neural pathways in your brain, you're going to continue to receive more encouragement from the brain and from the body to continue doing that because you're fortifying those pathways. And then the things that you're no longer doing, like maybe it's eating junk food or, not having a sleep routine or not moving the body, because you're doing that less and less, the brain will begin to prune out that information to support the new one. And that can work in reverse, where you stop doing that self-care and you stop doing the things that help you to feel better. The brain will start to prune that away for you as well and focus on the things that you are giving your time and energy towards. So this is really important to remember in starting over. What you give your energy and your focus to really will multiply and grow in your life. Your brain is designed to support that concept. And number 3, strengthening pathways. Repetition is key here. This is how we're literally able to learn anything. It's so crucial to repeat the behaviors and the beliefs and the perspectives that you want to experience, because as you repeat them, they become fortified, they get stronger, and they help you to better handle the life that you're living. So I'm encouraging you to strengthen those neural pathways that are going to allow you to feel safe and seen in your life. Because when you do that, you will make them into new habits and they will become ingrained over time. And you'll be able to lean into that autopilot behavior where by default, due to muscle memory and your ability to strengthen those neural pathways, you're going to always take care of yourself because that's your new foundation and baseline. Okay, 3 ways to help your brain start over. Number 1, practice mindfulness and meditation. I mean, what did you think I was going to say? Let's be for real. Meditate. If you've been following me for some time, you know that I'm a meditation teacher, a meditation coach, if you will. Mindfulness and meditation can reduce stress, it enhances focus, and it can promote emotional regulation, which are foundational when adapting to new beginnings. Here's how you do it. Take a few moments each day, checking in, taking deep inhales and exhales, slowing down, and just seeing how your body feels. Reflecting on what's happening in your mind And if that seems like, okay, Lo, that sounds cute, but I'm not there yet, I got you. I have tons of guided meditations on this very podcast, on my YouTube channel, on my Insight Timer teacher profile, in my freaking Instagram page. There's tons of guided meditation that you can listen to help you begin strengthening that practice of tuning inwards. But regardless of how you do it, get it done, because that's going to help your brain help you. And bonus, I'm going to be creating a meditation specifically for starting over, and it'll be released for this season of this podcast. So you'll have that just for there. But I have meditations on amplifying and embracing love in your life, on redesigning your life, that new meditation that I spoke about earlier on living your dream life now and calling it in, meditations for rest, meditations for self-love, to align your chakras. And there are going to be more and more meditations coming out by the time this podcast episode is live anyway. So however you need to get into the flow of meditating, of being mindful, get to it, please, babes. Help your brain so your brain can help you instead of being a hindrance. Because most times the brain doesn't really know what to do. So you need to help it. Number 2, move that body. I'm going to explain why it helps. I'm actually going to read from my notes for this one because I really want to get the terminologies correct. So here's what happens. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain of neurotropic factors. Let's get into what that even means, though. Neurotropic factors. These are proteins, complex molecules that do the heavy lifting for cells that support growth, survival, and the uniqueness of neurons, aka nerve cells, in the brain. They play a critical role in neuroplasticity by aiding in neuron growth and connectivity. Now, what's neuron growth? It refers to the process by which neurons form new connections and strengthen existing ones, essential for learning and memory. So you need that neuron growth and those neurotropic factors to even be able to prune out the old and strengthen the new. Here's how you can use moving your body to make that happen. It can be anything from yoga to mindful walking. I love me a hot girl walk. Really and truly, any form of movement that you enjoy, you incorporate it into your daily routine, and you really help your brain in this journey of starting over. Now, number 3, I really don't know what y'all thought I was going to say, baby. Emotional freedom technique tapping, my love. Okay. First off, EFT is that girl, been that girl, will forever be that girl. Y'all know that that's what I specialize in teaching, because the transformation you receive with EFT is so incredible. It is one of the healing modalities. You get instant gratification, and then you have delayed gratification. You can compound that as you tap more and more, and you begin to witness that you're more calmer and more vibrant and just able to feel through the emotions, able to let things roll off your shoulders. Tapping helps us clear our energetic pathways, rewire the brain as well, to support us in this new journey that we're living in. Tapping lowers cortisol levels, and it can be calming for the amygdala, which is the brain's stress center. And that allows the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for making decisions and rational thoughts, to function more effectively. It also helps us to reframe negative thoughts. Helping to replace those negative thought patterns with positive ones reinforces those new neural pathways we spoke about earlier and support a healthier mindset. Combining cognitive reassessment with physical tapping helps to integrate emotional and cognitive processes, leading to a more harmonious and resilient brain. Cognitive refers to the mental processes such as thinking, learning, memory, problem solving, those type of things. And it's how we essentially take in information, how we process it, and then use it to make decisions. Okay, and I want you to remember this about neural pathways. These are networks of neurons, those nerve cells we talked about earlier, in the brain that communicate with each other to transmit information. When you're learning something new or developing a new habit, new neural pathways are formed. And the more that you use them, they become stronger, making it easier for you to perform those tasks in the future. Simply by understanding neuroplasticity and implementing these practices of mindfulness and meditation, moving your body, and using EFT will give your brain the support it needs to endure the journey of starting over. So I'm going to answer some key questions that y'all asked me, which I really appreciate y'all taking the time out to ask me. Please check out my stories and my email, because I'm constantly in communication with y'all to see what it is that you need from me. So these are the top 3 questions that I felt like could really drive home the purpose and point of this particular episode. Number one, how did I know I needed to start over? Ultimately, I knew I needed to start over because I was unsatisfied in my life. Period. And if you attended any one of my classes, any one of my live events, even if you listen to previous episodes of this podcast, I talk about the deep importance of feeling satisfied, feeling satiated in your life. If you do not feel satisfied, it is hard for you to begin to even access a level of gratitude or appreciation for life. It's hard for you to experience happiness and joy on a consistent basis if you don't even feel satisfied with your basic needs being met. When you're not satisfied, you begin to look through life with this distorted lens. You can adopt a pessimistic behavior, feel like things are not working out for you, feel like you're not being supported. It becomes a very ugly downward spiral. And that creates severe mind shifts that you don't need to be having to begin with. And it can bring you into a space of feeling restless. It can also reduce neuroplasticity. It can impair your self-efficacy. And it can end up making you lose your ability to be resilient. So once I understood I was unsatisfied, I was like, yeah, it's time to start over, babes. It's time. How did I prepare for the journey of starting over? I don't necessarily know if there's like a one-way fix all to do this, but for me, I utilize the CPR method that I created, and it stands for create, praise, and recover. Create to connect, praise on purpose, and recover to resonate. Create to connect is all about just tapping back into the energy of creativity and doing something simple each day that honors the artist within you. Because if you can do that, if you connect back to creativity, you're connecting back to source. And that can really help you to feel good on this new journey you're on. The second thing is praising on purpose. I look at praise as gratitude plus joy equals praise. That's the formula that I like to use. And praise puts you in this beautiful frequency where you feel hopeful and you feel excited for life. And you need that energy when you are starting over. And the last thing is recover to resonate. That's mindfully moving the body. And I just talked about earlier how that helps the brain, but on an energetic and spiritual level, moving the body helps the body to process the emotion, the energy in motion, the information it's receiving. It helps it to properly digest information so that you can use that information to live your life, to make better decisions. I cannot say it enough. The CPR method is fantastic. I've been using it for over a decade now, which is crazy. And when you sign up for my email list, you get access to the free ebook that literally shows you how to make your own custom CPR method. Yeah, self-care is huge in starting over. I know that that sounds annoying. It's a buzzword, all those things like that. But dude, if you're going to go on a journey of starting over and you're not going to take care of yourself, what's even the point? How are you going to sustain it? How are you going to endure and move forward? Okay, last question. What does it feel like to start over? It can feel like so many things. It can feel like hypervigilancy, constantly searching for information or opportunities to, leap into that new life or to make sure that you're not taking the old life with you. It can be exciting. It can be hard to focus. There's curiosity of like what's to come. There are so many different emotions that come up. But what I will say is that continue to expect good things to happen on your journey of starting over. Fortifying those beliefs will not only help your brain, but also help your body to get through to the other side. I hope that answers your questions. If you have another question pertaining to this specific topic, this episode, go ahead and leave it in the comments so that I can answer it for you, because I want to make sure that you feel safe and seen in this journey. Before I close out today's episode, I just want to remind you that starting over is a constant thing. Okay. I do believe that you will always be starting over in some area of your life all the time. And I'm not saying that to exhaust you. I'm just saying that to keep you aware and prepared. And hopefully you can take that information and look at it as an opportunity instead of an obstacle. Having ability to start over in any area of your life is really an empowering and liberating experience to have. It means that you no longer have to stay stuck in the things that are weighing you down. It means that you can let them things go and that there's something brand new for you to experience. Remember to take care of yourself, to love on yourself, to connect to community. And if you are someone that feels like, well, I haven't found my people yet, I don't necessarily have an in-person community, please join one of my lives. I swear to you, it's one of the safest spaces on the internet, on Beyonce's internet. Okay? Come to one of the lives, meet the other people that I'm in community with. You'll notice how safe you feel there. You can join one of my lives for free, or if you're ready to do inner work and dive deeper and to explore more of what this new life can look like for you, I encourage you to join the private membership that I have called The Garden. I'm not sure if it'll be open still by the time this episode comes out, but if you are really passionate about finding community and you're like, look, I really want this, you reach out to me, talk to me. We'll see if it's in alignment and we can move forward from there. But I cultivate safe spaces. I am a great community builder. I want to make sure that the people that are in my container as a practitioner, but as a person, that y'all feel safe and seen and that you feel excited enough to take leaps of faith and to experience life in ways you've never done before. So if you're looking for that community and you need that community, you're already doing it here in the podcast. Drop a comment and let us know that you're looking for community, and you'll find someone that's going to connect with you in such a beautiful way. I really am so appreciative of my community. So shout out the garden, shout out the collective. I love y'all to pieces. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode with me. And I want you to do something in this moment, okay? I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't subscribed yet. If you've already subscribed to the podcast, I want you to leave a review. Let me know how this podcast feels for you, okay? We are very close to being a 5-star podcast on Spotify. We're 5 stars on Apple, though. So, leave a review. If you left a review and you already subscribed, share the episode. There are so many different things you can do to show your appreciation and your support for my artistry, which is being here and sharing the information and the journey that I've been on in this life. I love being able to do this. And I really hope that you join me in sharing this out into the world. Well, here's your personal invite. I am doing this thing called Lotus Lounge, where we'll be discussing episodes in real time with other listeners of the podcast. It's going to be freaking dope. So make sure you check the show notes for your invitation to the Lotus Lounge. We're going to have so much fun. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see you there for us to kiki, sip our teas. It's going to be a full experience that you don't want to miss. So go ahead. You have some things to do. And, last but not least, bloom beautifully. And I'll see you in the next episode.